Hello ladies and gents, welcome back once again to another video. Today we're not going to be playing Hearts of Iron 4, we're going to be watching Hearts of Iron 4. There's an announcement, as you can see, a new HOI4 DLC, and I've been hearing there's some pretty interesting focus trees in this one, so how about you buckle up, watch this with me, and let's hope this is actually worth something. Alright, snow. So I'm thinking Finland. Finland focus tree. It's quite loud. Let me... That's my... Maybe the Nordic countries in general? I think Estonia would get a focus tree. Okay. That's pretty much it. It's a teaser pretty much. But let's go through and see what this actually is about. Over here I have the dev diary for this upcoming DLC. Don't mind my cat. She's having a lot of fun. She's a bit attention. She has some attention deficits going on right now. But don't worry, baby. I will take care of that very soon. Greetings all on this auspicious day. As promised last week, today we have big news as well as an overview of what we're working on for the next Hearts of Iron 4 expansion against Arms Against Tyranny and the accompanying Stella Polaris update. After successfully evading capture and inclusion in numerous HOI4 expansions, we are proud to announce that Finland and the Nordic countries will be setting the theme of Arms Against Tyranny. This is a region clearly very close to our hearts at Paradox. Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't made a focus tree for Finland specifically up until right now, because Finland is a pretty big part of the Soviet Union front, of the Eastern Front, both in the Winter War as well as in the Continuation War. While the effects of the Winter War occupations and policymaking of Nordic countries are well documented on the progress of the war as a whole, domestic histories and perspectives of these countries are often overlooked in favor of more active theaters. Though I would argue that the Eastern Front was very active. Even the Finnish one, though they never pushed much further than their Lost Lands and Karelia and all that stuff, they did still, they were a big thorn in the Soviet Union's side. Over the next several months, we'll be introducing you to a more detailed perspective on each of the constituent parts of AAT, including deep dives into the mechanics you've already seen, international markets, and military-industrial organizations. I'm hoping they'll revamp trade because it's kind of garbage. It used to be garbage, it still is, but also used to be garbage. Mechanics we've chosen to include here are ones we feel augment the fancy of playing in the Nordic area during this era. Okay. Store page, we don't care about that. So the Winter War relived the defining moment of Finnish history, defying the odds against a much more powerful Soviet adversary. That's gonna be very fun to do. It's though my favorite part of HOI4 is the Sino-Japanese front. The Winter War is very fun to play because you have to micromanage a lot, and if you do it well, you can get massive benefits out of beating up the Soviet Union. A powerful Sweden, the richest of the Nordic countries. I'm guessing there's going to be an alternate focus tree where they can also join the war. It's the usual stuff, but I'm curious to see how they can make a neutral Sweden fun, because usually you just sit there. And the problem with most HOI4 DLCs, I feel like, is they don't really add a lot of flavor to the neutral countries. Or at least they don't add a lot of flavor to normally neutral countries, and they add most of the flavor to neutral countries becoming not so neutral. And I'd like to have a country that's neutral be still fun. So Sweden could be that, hopefully. You never know. Norway relived the historical challenge. Yeah, you'd have to deal with the Germans attacking you, the naval invasions. It's gonna be very interesting. Maybe there's some switches with historical tags as well. That would be nice. Because right now you have the Nordic Union, you can form Scandinavia, but it feels very lackluster. A war machine of your design to make sure that you have an industry that matches your ambitions. National manufacturers. Oh yeah, that's something I've been hearing about. You can customize your manufacturers as well by giving them bonuses depending on which things are more advantageous to you. So that's pretty interesting. In the new international market, you can choose an arm export. You can choose to become an arm exporting powerhouse, selling weapons to other nations in return for civilian factory output. Okay. That doesn't give us a lot of information though on what they're going to change specifically, just that they're going to have a focus on it. A little bit. Sorry. Daddy's working right now. Well, not really working. We barely earn any money off of this channel, but that's okay. We're having fun though, no? Anyway, new art and music. That's always fun though. New military operations, many updates and changes to the design, including customization of the special forces. Yeah, I don't really usually use special forces because it seems like a minimal amount of effort for barely any difference, at least to me. I'm not really someone who plays multiplayer a lot, so regular units are more than enough to deal with the AI. Especially, I don't even build tanks, to be honest. I just infantry unit. It's all the way down, and I have absolutely no problems dealing with anyone whatsoever. New art, music, very nice. 10 songs. Hey yo, Paradox, how about you hit me up? I'll make some songs for you. I'd be very happy to. Hint, hint. This is, however, not all. I shall hand you over to the most blah blah blah. Okay. As we've been doing in the latest DLCs, we're going to split Finnish content into 2 dev diaries. That's interesting. Let's see. In 1936, Finland found itself in a complex political, diplomatic, and military situation. Despite being a democratic nation, nationalism and right-wing ideology were on the rise. The proximity to the Soviet Union also made it vulnerable to aggression, and tensions between the two countries were high. On the political front, Finland's government was fairly agile, with several different parties, most remarkably the Agrarian Party, the National Coalition Party, and the Social Democratic Party vying for power and struggling to work together effectively. Finland's relationship with its neighbors was strained. In 1932, Soviet-Finnish Non-Aggression Pact was signed and reaffirmed for 10 years in 1934, but relations between the two countries were definitely not great, leaving Finland in a situation of uncertainty and vulnerability. In terms of military, their forces are poorly equipped and trained, yeah, but very loyal. So after putting some context into the situation, let's see how it looks like in game. Well, that's a new portrait as far as I know, right? Okay, Sisu is a Finnish concept that is used to express the national character of the Finns. It doesn't really have a literal equivalent in English, but could be described as stoicism, tenacity, resilience, and unrelenting willpower. It's kind of like perseverance. Russians have something similar, as far as I know. It's just like dealing with whatever comes and just stoically grumbling about it. But still persevering. But anyhow, now that we have a better idea of what Sisu is, some of you might have noticed that Sisu national spirit in the screenshot is significantly weaker than its old version. Oh, you can buff it up probably. Well, fear not, the version is not the definite. Yeah, there we go, 5 stages. You have to do some focuses to get the ultimate one so that you have a big chance to beat up the Soviet Union. I do wonder if there's going to be a Sisu version of a more aggression-focused one to help Finland be on a more equal footing with the Soviet Union. Finland's country has also changed. That is because after delving into Finnish politics in the 30s and 40s, I realized how unstable the position of the Prime Minister was. Finland saw 11 different Prime Ministers Damn. With some of them leaving their post to become president of the republic, while others seem to be fairly irrelevant and last in their positions for a very short time. In comparison, Finland, quote-unquote, only had 5 presidents. It's still a lot. So I made up my mind and decided to represent Finland's even though really close to Germany, Finland was considered by most a co-belligerent country to Germany instead of an actual German ally. In order to represent this in game and prevent certain issues, such as AI naturally turning to the Axis, by non-aligned ideology. Okay. A skilled precision shooter. And there's a lot going on. Let's have a look. It's the same balance of power thing. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of the balance of power so far. They had it in the previous DLC as well, but it just felt annoying to deal with and like slowly but clumsily going through it. And I get it. It's supposed to represent how unwieldy the political situation of a certain country is at times, but it felt not fun to deal with it. And I'm hoping it'll be more fun for Finland than it was for, say, something like Ethiopia or Italy, but we'll see. Yeah, one side's for recruitable population. Oh no, it's actually trust. And I'm guessing if you lose trust, you can coup him. Okay, this is more interesting then, I guess. Yeah, no. I like this more because in Italy, you actually, and Ethiopia, you actually have to balance and stay in the middle. In here, it's basically how well are you doing? Okay, you have to do decisions, concessions, etc. in order to get trust. And if you want, alternatively, you probably can destroy trust in order to have a coup or have someone else take over. Okay, I like that. Here are some leaders. Dude, Mannerheim has some manpower you get for free. That's impressive. Is this the non-aligned dude? This looks like a democratic one, if anything. Yeah, so far, HOI4 seems like the weakest one out of them all. They get a lot of political advisors. All right. A lot of them are cheap as well. Nationalists. I like when they go away from just the standard, smooth talking charmer, captain of industry, elusive gentleman, model Kyander, whatever the hell that is, Hurya Hilya, conspiratist. It gives you a lot more flavor and gives you a lot more options than the standard things that people always take. And it makes you hopefully play different styles, depending on what you want to do. Same in here, a lot of options. Big fan, a lot of options. This we don't really care about as much. They start with a fair amount of generals. There's no big changes as far as I could tell. Yeah. We can skip further. This is the interesting part. Military-industrial organization. You can modify them and give yourself bonuses. They have little mini tech trees, in fact, that give you bonuses on depending on what you need at the time. I'm guessing you won't have enough funds to actually do all of it, so you'll have to balance out what you want. So that's very interesting. Infrastructure has been drastically reduced in most states to better represent the real situation of roads and communication in most Finnish regions. Don't worry too much about the infrastructure, since Finland has means to improve that infrastructure and to deal with low supply areas. Okay, so they're gonna have a bit of an advantage when it comes to supplies, while the Soviets are probably gonna struggle supplying this front line. That's good. That's pretty much the situation in the Winter War, right? I think the focus tree itself looks pretty decent. A fairly normal, industrial focus. Nothing really to write home about. Expanded to fit the scope of most other industrial focuses. This, on the other hand, let's have a look. Military branch. Honestly, basic as well. There's probably going to be some bonuses in here. some research speed bonuses. Nothing too special. What is this though? The cold front? Oh, you can use deer apparently to... okay, I like it. Deer sounds fun. Anything else? Fortification lines? No, that doesn't really speak to me. See, bonuses. Finnish army gets modified to become stronger. Yeah, you're gonna increase your Sisu auto, whatever that means. With tank designers, nothing has changed as far as I can tell, right? Nothing has really changed. Oh, but this is interesting. There's a bunch of decisions. Multi-tactics. What does that mean? The multi-strategy involves encircling and isolating enemy units to cripple their logistical and communication lines. The implementation of this approach requires careful planning and training of the defense forces to ensure its effectiveness on the battlefield, but it will allow to outmaneuver the enemy and to strike where they least expect. Okay. Effect when removed, multi-strategy. You can gain a lot more equipment captured from enemies, supplies. Okay. It feels like a different version of what the Spanish Civil War has, where you have to click a bunch of buttons to be able to actually attack, because otherwise you get massive debuffs in a certain state. Winter Warfare. Yeah, these are all pretty much just bonuses. Winter Logistics Company. I do wonder if this company is going to be better than the regular logistics company. I'd have to compare them side to side. But I'll do that in game. And I'm guessing these are only placeholder stats anyway. There's always tweaking to be done with these types of things and figuring out the balance. Long Range Patrol Company. Now, what is that? Unique Finnish support battalion, an improved version of the Recon Company. Okay. So it's a better recon. Interesting. That's nice. I like the flavoring so far. Now, I do want to see the political power tree, focus tree, or rather the foreign affairs focus tree. You know, I work for foreign affairs, so that's what interests me most. And, you know, the fact that you can probably do a lot of conquest in the foreign affairs focuses does speak to me. You will get some air bases, XP. That doesn't really matter to me. Expansions towards the Atlantic. Now, what does that mean? Is that a... Sea mines, I'm guessing it's more the naval focus, which we don't really... No one cares about that. The railway gun looks sick. Oh, and wait. -10 convoys. A refitted... That's actually really cool. I hate building up a navy, but this allows you to have a bit of a cheeky one. It's probably god awful. But it allows you to rapidly build up one instead of having to wait 69 years for one submarine and it just gets blown up in your own port or something. Okay, the political branch. See, that's the interesting part, right? Lone Wolf. Finnish March of Conquest. Greater Finland. Okay, but there's also Dreams of Expansion in here. Interesting. A Cry for Help. You can take Estonia. Okay, so there's different parts of expansions to form Greater Finland. Now that is interesting. I do like the sound of that already. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about the borders. They look kind of disgusting and ugly. I don't know why they have this piece of Sweden and not a piece of Norway. I'm sure there's a historical context to it, but it just looks ugly. I wish they had a piece of Norway as well. But oh well. Pushing back the Soviets and occupying Leningrad or Moscow will allow us to demand peace negotiations. That is very interesting. a scripted peace deal that's not just you white piecing or losing land. Very good. There should be a lot more of this in HOI4, if you ask me. Limited wars, because everyone hates the end seek until the end of time. Okay. 3D models for whatever you want. Okay. Honestly, so far, things are looking good. I'm looking forward to seeing what else there is. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Hopefully I can get my hands on an early copy. You never know. I gotta grow the channel before I'm guaranteed that, I think. But we'll definitely try. With that, that's pretty much all the time I have today. I hope you enjoyed this little look through the Finnish focuses, and well, the Finnish country, I guess, in the upcoming HOI4 DLC. Hopefully we'll hear more about the other ones as well. And hopefully they're just as interesting. Because right now, my fear is that Finland is the only one that really has a big role in in World War II. They're probably going to have the bulk of everything interesting going on for them. Norway, sure, they are technically in World War II, but Norway's role is essentially getting bent over and titty fucked until the war ends. So, yeah. Anyway, till next time, have a good one, and bye-bye.